We're living in a time when we don't know if what we're seeing is real. AI is writing our emails. People are curating their lives online. Even our own thoughts feel shaped by algorithms and agendas. And don't even get me started about the news. So let me ask you, if you don't know what to trust out there, how do you know what to trust in here, inside you? Welcome to A Leader's Purpose, the podcast for high-level leaders who want to live, lead, and make decisions from alignment, not autopilot. I'm your guide. My name is Tammy, and I am here to help you reconnect with who you are and what you're here to do, and how to move forward with clarity, purpose, and trust. So do you remember a time when cameras weren't everywhere? You weren't worried about things like being captured. And then taking that a step forward is when you knew that you could trust what you saw, what you heard, or what you felt, that when things were taken out of context, you could just work your way through them. But now context is so warped and people can take bits and pieces and make it seem true. So we all used to have this sense of north, like what was true, what was grounded, what was worth moving towards. But now we have this compass that feels broken. We have this compass, this idea, this indicator where the magnetism is off and we keep spinning. And because of that, a lot of times we don't know what or who to believe. And so with the erosion of trust in culture, with the AI generated content, deep fakes and these curated personas, I was listening to what was going on in Hollywood and talking about how a lot of the actors are trying to protect their own likeness, their own beings, how now our technology has gotten so good that they can make whole movies and have the likeness of someone, their voice, their mannerisms, their persona, and the actual person not be involved at all. And they were just trying to protect their identity and to protect themselves from this happening. And it just blows my mind. And I was thinking about this, is all of these things that we have to protect, what is it doing to us? And as I believe that we're in the middle of a trust recession, a trust deficit, and we not only don't trust what's out there, but it's caused us to really not trust ourselves either. So we have mistrust in the media, we have some mistrust in our leaders and even some of our mentors. And part of the issue is we're in information overload and there's so much contradictory advice out there. There's so much information that we can't filter through to know what we're actually considering, what we believe and what is true. And so when we don't know what to trust, we either grasp harder for control or we shut down completely. And so the truth is, the hidden cost to losing this trust, to this trust deficit, is that our self-trust takes a hit. And so when we lack external trust, our internal trust erodes as well. So many things come from different angles. We don't slow down enough to understand it internally, to know what we think, what we feel, and deepen or know where our gut is saying about it. And so it's the rise of second guessing, overanalyzing, imposter syndrome, acting and then thinking later, and people started to outsource their decisions, values, and vision. When we start to outsource our decisions, when we allow external elements to make our internal decisions, when we allow external culture to dictate our values, and when we don't slow down enough to actually create the vision for ourselves and pull out the vision that is deep in our know or deep in our soul, then we can't even trust ourselves to lead. We can't trust ourselves to make these actions. And the longer we outsource the decisions, the longer it takes us to get back to grounding, to get back to our internal compass and to know who we are, what we're here to do, and stop focusing on these external validations and really lean into what we know to be true. So if we can't trust the outer world, the inner world has to become our anchor. But most people have never learned how to hear themselves clearly. The way forward isn't found in more input. It's about reclaiming your internal compass, reclaiming this vision, you're knowing your strengths and your core motivations. It's about like really reclaiming your internal compass. And you can do this by going through my Shine framework, and again, we'll talk through it here. You don't have to go through all the elements of Shine in order to get benefits from this. So when you see yourself clearly, you know who you are beneath the noise. When you hear your calling, you can trust the inner whisper more than the outer volume and all of the bombarding information coming your way. When you integrate your whole self, you can build rhythms and relationships that reflect the truth, your values, the vision, what you want from life. When you navigate your path, when you make decisions based on alignment, not approval, you get to say no to things that don't align with you. You get to say no to things that you don't value. You get to say no to things that you don't want to say yes to in the first place. Then you end up saying yes because you feel an obligation. And when you embody your purpose, you show up from identity, not insecurity. And the crazy thing is that when we are stepping into our alignment, when we step into our strength, when we step into our core motivations and our true identity from the inside out, that's when our leadership follows as well. Because if we can't trust ourselves, how are the people we lead going to trust us as well? When we outsource our decisions, how are the people who work for us going to trust our decisions if we can't truly give them an answer to why we're doing what we're doing? Even if I know that in business, I know that in organizations and in leadership, we always have someone to answer to. We always do. Even as a solopreneur, even as an entrepreneur and having my own business, I answer to the decisions I make based on my time, to my family, to my clients. I answer my decisions. I answer to God for a lot of what I do. He is my indicator. He is the one who brings me back to true north. And by linking with my core values and what my beliefs are, I'm able to stop outsourcing my decisions. Outsourcing and looking at what culture says our values should be, because let's face it, they have no compass at all. When is the last time that you saw something in culture, in just like pop culture, in Hollywood, in just the way the world's going, ooh, I need to be a part of all of this? No, there's elements, there's whispers of things. And this is why having causes, having missions, having understanding our why behind our why is so important. But back to leadership, if we want to be a true leader, we want to lead from the soul, from the heart, from what we know to be true, we actually need to know why it's true. We need to slow down enough to make decisions based on what we value and the vision we know we're operating from. The vision we know we want, the vision of the company, the vision of the team, the vision of our leaders above us. We've got to operate from a boundary, a roadmap, a system. But if we keep allowing all of this information overload, if we keep allowing other people to make decisions for us, and then we're just like, oh, I'll fix it eventually. No, it's actually a lot easier just to have other people make decisions for us. And it's harder to get back onto that get back on that path of, no, this is what I know to be true, whether it goes along with what others say or not. And as a leader, we are called to make those tough decisions. We are called to stand out above the crowd. We are called to answer for the decisions, our values, and our vision that we've created, that we've brought from within. We have boundaries. We have roadmaps. We have plans. We have goals. We have our vision, strategy, whatever you want to call it. Because it also allows us to build the self-trust within ourselves to make our decisions, to filter out what works and what doesn't. And so if you have outsourced decisions up until now, if you think back of some of the things you're doing and you're just allowing the culture and outside sources to dictate your actions, your thoughts, your feelings, how you spend your time, then it's time to start getting clear. And it's okay if trust feels risky. It's okay if you've gotten it wrong before. That's the thing, is it's not about getting everything right. But it's not okay to live your entire life outsourcing your wisdom, doubting your voice, and questioning your ability to lead. Because when you learn to trust yourself, when you learn to lean into, and it's not just the trusting yourself like wholeheartedly and blindly, it's because you've built a system of checks and balances. You know your values, you know your core motivations, you know the outcomes and the vision that you're looking for. You can stop spinning and you can start walking forward with peace. You can start leading with peace and calm and leading your team in a way that enables them to have that inner peace as well and start to trust themselves and their decisions, because they're going to have that inner compass to help them direct and keep on path as well. And so if you're ready to recalibrate your inner compass, book this leadership strategy call. Let's get back to clarity, identity, and confidence. And let's talk about what it means to lead through self-trust. Self-trust doesn't mean that it's all up to you, but it does mean that you have a specific set of boundaries and variables that you decide, that you use to decide what you're going to do. So book your leadership strategy call, TammyMarieCoaching.com/call. And let's talk about what it can look like to lead through alignment, lead through trust, and lead through your strengths and motivations, and lead through peace and not chaos. All right, friend, with that, and man, this was a quick podcast and I love it. Just down and dirty. It was one of those podcasts that I knew I needed to share, because my heart breaks when I start seeing leaders and people make decisions and you can tell they're not trusting themselves. Though this was an important one for me to do, to show you that we don't need to outsource our decisions. I don't need to outsource my decisions. And it's important that we stop outsourcing our decisions and start trusting our inner wisdom. Start trusting that voice that we know to be true, and stop questioning your ability to lead. Stop leading from imposter syndrome and trying to make people happy. Lead with strength, lead with confidence, lead with clarity, and lead through identity, because that's what your people are looking for in order for them to grow as well. All right, friend, choose joy until joy chooses you, and I will talk to you really soon. All right, bye for now.